Dearly redheaded, we are choosing consciousness today to get through this thing called grief. Interesting word, grief. It means love, which makes for a mighty good joke. But I'm here to tell you, there's nothing else. Just joy. And if the big picture tends to bring you down, go crazy once your life goes. Woo!
Good morning, all. It's your natural born redhead, and I'm here with my favorite person to talk to, Shell. Morning, Shell.
Morning.
I tried something a little different this morning. We had a very good conversation yesterday, so I was trying a little telepathy on my way in this morning. Do you get anything?
Well, I mean, I got something, but I don't know if it was what you were sending.
Ooh, what'd you get?
Well, I got a kick in my ass to like move a lot today. So I've already like a couple miles in and some training early. So that's what I got this morning.
That wasn't me.
Okay. So what were you sending?
I don't know a lot about telepathy, but I believe it's possible. So I just started talking to you. And like conversationally. And not for long. And then I tried to convey what I was listening to music-wise. And that's about it.
Okay. Well, that's interesting.
It was.
Maybe I just didn't get it yet.
Well, I think now I'll try it again next time we do this on the way in.
Yeah.
And see if we can
You know,
connect.
it also could be that the space that I was in this morning wasn't able to receive it. Maybe we got to tune in a little bit.
Yeah, and I think that's probably part of it. I thought of that while I was driving. It would have been a hell of a lot better if she knew.
Well, I think that would defeat the purpose.
It's we feel others' emotions so much, and it's hard to distinguish from our own. So it would have been, nice to have a little heads up.
Yeah, let's experiment with that. That would be fun.
Okay. Yeah, I think it would be. This morning, we are going to address a topic you're very passionate about. I am too, but you've got me beat. And that's the topic of dementia. And I know why you're passionate about it, but would you share with my audience, our audience, what it is about dementia that has you so fired up?
Well, my best friend has dementia. And I've taken care of people with dementia in the past, but this has hit too close to home for comfort. I mean, it's just terrible. And I'm passionate about it, not only because my best friend has it, but because it seems as if it is plaguing our society. I mean, the world. I mean, I don't know. I can't speak to other countries, but it seems as if our country is really, really struggling with early onset and late onset as it develops. And I don't know what else I could say about it, is that it just is one of the worst diseases I have ever witnessed.
Yeah. I've shared it before, but I'll share it again. My grandmother had it. My mom had it, started it in her early 80s and didn't turn into Alzheimer's till she was probably 94-ish. But it's a hell of a journey, and the biggest antidote seems to be great care, which is something we don't tend to give. And I don't mean as individual caregivers. I mean as far as nursing homes, and just not ideal for dementia patients. So
No, it's not. I would agree. It's not ideal at all because it's not set up for them
nope.
in any way other than the basic minimum of care.
Yep. I have an upcoming podcast where I talk about long-term dissociation leading towards dementia, especially in women. I mean, I know it affects men too, both dissociation and dementia, but I think the statistics are greater where women are concerned. So
Where more women are being affected by dementia.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's clear in the facilities as well. I mean, I would say over 90% are women in these facilities.
And I guess it's also tied to women living longer.
And I think it's also tied to a lot of things. I think it can also be tied to hormones. It could be tied to lifestyles, extreme stress. It's probably a bunch of things that are plaguing and they're adding to this disease.
Yep. And
I mean, I think we're just discovering, I think there's just becoming a lot more talk about women and their hormone levels, especially after menopause. And the sharp decline of hormones that we experience cannot be good for our brain.
yeah, see, that's where you know more than I do. I did a cocktail for my mother. I think I've mentioned it before, starting in her 80s. It was high doses of vitamin E, coconut oil, whatever the research I had done to try to stave off the plaques, etc. And we did that for a long time, never really knowing if it made a hill of beans difference. But I think in the end, you can attest, my mother did not lose me, but she lost just about everything else.
Yeah.
Do you want to speak to your best friend's experience in particular, or do we want to jump to our feelings about utilizing THC and, in your case, psilocybin?
I could briefly touch on her experience. I don't want to dive too much into it, but she is in her 80s, her early 80s, and she's very aware of her dementia, which is, I don't know if it's common or not, but from the population that I see her around, I mean, it's pretty rare from my point of view. She can verbalize like, this is the dementia. I can feel it. It's getting worse. My brain is not working the way it used to work. So it makes for a lot of interesting conversations because she's able to verbalize it, and I can ask questions to try to feel out what she's experiencing, which is why I am trying to write this book about her experience to get some sort of insight on how it feels for her. She is hysterical. She'll sometimes look at me and she'll say, "What do I have again?" Alzheimer's, dementia. Oh, right. I forgot. Isn't that funny? And ultimately it's terrible for her because she is someone who is highly intelligent and she has always relied on her mind, and she is living in a body where she's aware that she doesn't have her mind.
My mom was aware when I made fun of her, and I never was cruel about it. Well, I guess that's arguable. But I used to make her eggs, and Mom would remind me several times before the eggs were on the plate to salt and pepper them. Salt and pepper my eggs, salt and pepper my eggs. So when I'd put the eggs in front of her, I'd say, "Do you want salt and pepper?"
Mhm.
And she'd look at me with that gleam and, knew that, something had occurred where I was busting her hump.
Mm.
So you have a funny story about somebody in your past with dementia that you were on the fence about revealing. Are you up for it or not so much?
No, not yet, not yet, not yet.
I get it. I get it. Um, what does your friend use, if anything, for pain? And what's allowed within the home she's in?
So she's not in a lot of, like, it's not physical pain. It's more, I don't even know if I can say it's pain. I mean, except that she's just severely depressed.
Mm.
Liz, she's she's a product of the 60s. She's used THC her entire life. And early on, when she was home, she used THC to help cope with her anxieties. And what I noticed was that, especially as the dementia progressed, her using THC was allowing her to connect still. It was allowing her to access this calmer state and have really long form conversations that were very lucid, very clear, as if I had to question if she had dementia at all. Now, because she is in memory care, she's not taking THC. It would be a lot of hoops to jump through to get them to agree to that, which is unfortunate because I think we are missing out on on something big here for people that are suffering with all kinds of dementias, because it is plant medicine and it could potentially help them get through this stage where the body and mind are struggling.
Can you speak to the fact that it's legal in New York and what the hang up? I mean, I know what the hang up is on some level within care homes, nursing homes. But can you speak to, because I know you've inquired, right? Can you elaborate?
Yeah, I have inquired, but it's not really met with open arms. It's more like, well, if you can find a doctor to prescribe her, then we can talk about, so it's not that it can't be done, but it's not welcomed. It's not like it's this would be a really interesting practice. Maybe we should incorporate it. Maybe we should get some guidance in how we can help these people and provide plant medicines to ease their struggles with this. Because as someone who takes plant medicine, there's been times in my life where it has provided such calm and clarity and insight into my struggles. And for people who may not be able to verbalize to their care aide what their struggle is, this is something that can bridge that gap, I think. And I think not exploring it is
A detriment.
Yeah, it is. It's a detriment.
So, just to push the envelope, I had a doctor that was prescribing for my mom. Have you contemplated talking to a doctor, or are you just not wanting to make waves in her care?
No, I have contemplated, and I have talked to her current doctors about it and her psychiatrist about it. And he's hesitant. He's not really in our previous conversations. Now, I haven't spoken with him about it most recently again, but in our previous conversations, it was, well, let's see what this other medication can do. I want to let her adjust to this list of psychiatric meds to see what we can do for her. And as someone who doesn't have credentials, talking to someone that does, a lot of times there's a lot of, like, it's not condescending in verbal talk, but it is in feeling. It's like, well, this is going to work, so let's just play around with these medications. And in my mind, those medications, I don't think they work very well.
Yeah,
especially in this kind of state. I mean, in my feeling about dementia is that they're losing the ability to connect mind and body. That means to me that we have to pour in way more connection. The ability to connect. We have to basically, as their care person, we have to fill that connection with them so that they feel safe enough to be able to be calm enough to verbalize what they can and share their experience as much as they can. These medications are more numbing than they are connecting and bridging. Yeah. If they're doing anything at all.
Yeah. And I would venture to say we know very little. I only have one guinea pig, my mom. She was my best friend. We were related, which gave me more leverage. Plus, she trusted me with her life and would tell me, reassure me along the way that whatever decision I made, she would, essentially make the same for herself if she had her ducks in a row. And I don't remember when we started THC. I remember she could no longer tolerate her cocktail, glass of wine, whatever. And so I bought non-alcoholic wine, and let's just say she saw through it. So, when it worked, it worked. When it didn't, it didn't. So I opened my mind to using THC, talked to a pain doctor, and I knew from getting high, not that I did it all that often, but I knew it was more like a state of mind thing than an actual pain reliever. I had tried all the CBD stuff without much positive outcome. She had a lot of aches and pains. She had a lot of reasons to utilize CBD, but ultimately I was really gunning for the THC because I had enough experience to know that if I changed her state of mind, like you're talking about, we needed to explore that. So, hospice, I don't remember being well versed. The pain doctor, as helpful as he was, he used to look forward to talking to me for feedback because we are still where, low dose, which is fine. I'm not trying to get elderly people stoned out of their minds, but low dose. And then there was more indica oriented than sativa oriented. And ultimately my mother enjoyed sativa and enjoyed the high feeling, but was her experience. She also was able to convey to me, and I wrote the dates down. I remember the first time she needed pain to go out, which was on her birthday in August of 23, and hospice was in the mix, and we utilized morphine. And my mother was able to tell me she did not like the way morphine made her feel. It made her forget that she went to the restaurant. And that's a person with dementia Alzheimer's. It was bizarre that she knew the difference. So from there, we would utilize THC and kind of followed her lead. It was never more than a gummy. sometimes too in an extreme situation, but that, was always low level. She didn't need much, and I would quite frankly save it for the end of the day when the sundowning would start, because the sundowning was just brutal.
Yeah, sundowning is brutal in every aspect of it.
Do you want to explain what it is? I'm having trouble. Is that something you can explain?
Sure. Yeah. So sundowning is a term used to describe periods of time in dementia, time of day. It doesn't have to always be the same time of day. It could be any time of day. But it's a special time of that this person is going through where they could be really highly agitated. They cannot rest. They can show like pacing. They can show like it's just a time where they are unable to soothe themselves in any way. They are very confused. They don't really know what they're supposed to do. Aspects of their old life might creep in where they're convinced that they have to go to work and they have to do it right now. They can hallucinate, and they think, I've had experiences where my friend would think that there were people running up and down her hallways, parties outside of her house, people that weren't there. I mean, it can get pretty nuts at some times, and it can last for several hours. I found it helpful to talk about it. And when my friend was going through a very obvious sundowning experience, I would explain it to her. This is called sundowning. This is very common. It's very normal for somebody who's experiencing dementia symptoms. And we would go through what it was, what she was feeling, and how. Well, I would look it up, and I would say, "Look, we're gonna research this while you're experiencing it," and it would be just enough to calm her, to say, "Okay, so I'm not crazy. No, you're not crazy. You're just experiencing sundowning, it's a symptom of dementia." And wow, I mean, it can take somebody in a state of pretty much calmness to wanting to fight you in minutes.
I just got a seething feeling of, ugh. Just, I hadn't thought about it in a while. Let me do a quick time check because I still have more on the subject, and maybe we'll turn it in. We're at 23 minutes. Can you explain to me, and where my mom was concerned, she was not able to get up, so it was largely agitation and mental, and just all I can say is it was worse. It was worse. She actually, and I've said this before, once it turned to Alzheimer's, she actually was less anxious. The dementia was actually on certain levels worse than the dementia, because there was a certain element of giving less of a shit when she had Alzheimer's. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I don't know. Because I don't fully understand of it turning one thing to another, because how I understand it, and so please correct me, teach me. Dementia being an umbrella term of
it is.
all different kinds of dementias. So I don't understand like when it turns into, like, I know it progresses. So if you have Alzheimer's, dementia, it's early. It could start as like mild cognitive impairment, I think they call it, and then it progresses into dementia, and into Alzheimer's. But I don't quite understand the switch. You know what I mean? Like when how you're explaining it, of it turning into from one to another.
A doctor said to me, dementia is you can't find your keys. Alzheimer's is you don't know what the fuck they're for.
Okay.
And that was always the thing in my mind. But also, my mother wasn't a traditional patient because of the extreme care she had. So when she would vary, she would, hold on, I'll come up with the word. Oh, Joanne. When you deteriorate with a cognitive issue, you deteriorate and then it sort of plateaus and then there's a new normal. But as it's deteriorating, the plateau doesn't necessarily reflect all that the deterioration phase showed. Like, she would show me some pretty concerning symptoms and then have this little rebound and plateau. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
I'm doing it with my hand.
I can. So when I was going through the early stages with her, I had a lot of counseling, and part of it was they were explaining to me that it's like they could almost be in every stage all at once and at different times. So it's like
I think
they can experience even if they're in like an earlier stage, they can experience the symptoms of late stage, and it's very fluid, and they just move throughout, being worse or better, sometimes daily, sometimes hourly.
I think that's an excellent way to put it, and I am grateful to have that explanation, because that's exactly what I experience. Let's stop, and then we'll move into episode 2 and talk more about it.
Thank you for listening and supporting Natural Born Redhead. If you follow the bouncing balls, please like and subscribe. If you know someone interested in sparing others grief and inciting joy, message me on Facebook or reach out via my website, Natural Born Redhead. J-Ma.